Hi, I'm Rachel here with my cat Leia to talk about my summer reading project, starting the Meg Wolitzer Backlist. I actually embarked on 2 loose reading projects this summer. The first was to finish a cherry-picked list of the Jewish Book Council's fiction that shaped 2015. I ranked the works in a blog post, which I linked below. The second project I titled Wolitzer Backlist on Twitter. I rated her latest novel, The Interestings, as one of my favorite reads of 2015. I'll link that video where I discuss this in more detail below. Shortly after that, I read her YA book, Beljar. I grew interested in reading Wolitzer's Backlist because I appreciate the way that she writes women, relationships, and sexuality. She captures the poignancy in ordinary moments between friends, lovers, and family. She writes sex without being sensational or a prude. And frankly, I'm aging into the area inhabited by many of her protagonists. I enjoy reading about the personal lives and broader worlds that these women inhabit. So without further ado, I'll get into the 3 books that I read between June and August. The first book that I read was The Uncoupling, published in 2011. When a new drama teacher comes to suburban America and has her high schoolers put on the play Lysistrata, a strange sexual spell takes over the area's women. No matter their age, they feel compelled to stop sleeping with their significant others. The book was supposed to be, and in many ways is, a study of the ebbs and flows of sexual desire, what brings on lust, what brings on reluctance, and how that affects our relationships and is shaped by the rest of our lives. But the magical plot device of the magical play felt a little tacky. We don't really need it for women to undergo genuine changes in their sex lives. It was just a convenient way for a variety of them to happen at once. Topically, we follow several different women, aged from teenagehood to the swath of middle age, who are in a variety of relationships. English teacher Dory Lang was the closest that we get to a main character, and her arc really worked for me. Sex in her 15-year marriage turns rather stale for her, and the lack of it turns her husband into a bit of a passive-aggressive bully. On the opposite side of the spectrum is Marissa Claiborne, the teenage star of Lysistrata, who rather abruptly decides to parlay her sudden abstinence into an anti-war protest. Technically, it is what the play is about as well, but Marissa, who is otherwise described as a level-headed girl, organizes a dramatic event without any planning or seemingly any forethought. She was basically sacrificed for the plot. It's a case, I think, of the characters being strong, but the plot not so much. This was my least favorite of the 3 novels I read. The next novel is my favorite of the 3. It's The 10-Year Nap, which was published in 2008. We follow 4 New York friends who, for a variety of reasons, decided to give up their professions once they had children. Now it's 10 years later, and they're feeling a little stuck. But this time, there's no magical realist construct to help them along. Once again, although we follow several different characters, former lawyer Amy Lamb is our main protagonist. She falls away from the rest of the group slightly when she befriends another mother at her son's school. This mother is having an affair, which Amy accidentally is let in on and then becomes the trusted confidant. Her closest friend Jill is in a self-involved funk about her daughter's undiagnosed learning disabilities. And then there's Roberta, a well-meaning do-gooder who struggles to jumpstart her artistic output. And Kim, the least defined of the 4, but still dealing with stuff. The book is also peppered with vignettes that show a day in the life of older women, mostly the mothers of our leads, but also other women who cross their path. The main women, as educated as they are privileged, and devoted to their families as well, inhabit this strange post-second wave feminism world of ours. The end of the novel is a little tidy where most of the women have to make some changes, but it's a very thoughtful and engaging read. And finally we have The Position, published in 2005. This story follows the Mello siblings a few decades after they come across their parents' widely successful and wildly graphic, for the 1970s anyway, book that explores the art of lovemaking. I do wonder if Wolitzer gave the reading of the book a little too much weight in the children's lives, but not for Holly, the oldest, who integrates her parents' actions into attaining some sort of euphoric high and spends much of the rest of her life trying to chase that feeling down. Perhaps it sounds trite the way that I said it, but Holly is a troubled drug addict who has to disengage from her family in order to move on with her life. Elsewhere, her brother Michael has turned from a gifted child into an adult whose antidepressants kill his sex drive. Then Dashiell, who receives a grim medical diagnosis early in the story, is mostly disappointed that his parents didn't think to be inclusive of homosexual couples. Finally, Claudia, the baby, is more affected by her parents' later divorce than the book, so it seems. Single and careerless, even in her mid-30s, gasp. Her head is more stuck in the past than it is in the present. Things sort of come to a head in various ways when the parents clash over whether they should reissue the book for its 30th anniversary. I think that Wolitzer's humor might be on the most display here too, particularly when she has Dashiell meet his partner at a social for gay Republicans. The characters are well developed enough for this to not be cheesy. More family-centric than the other two novels, this one juxtaposes an idealized book about sex against the reality about maladjustment and the desire for intimacy. And the relationships between parents, children, and siblings are played just as significantly as those between lovers. I appreciated that dimension. You can find my Goodreads reviews for these books linked down below. I'll be back with another video like this one in the future once I've read more Wolitzer Backlist. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.